Good evening, everyone. You're all welcome to this uh, webinar, to this webinar series. My name is Brian Mursala Muhammad. Today we'll be speaking on expanding your network beyond tech. So this is a webinar series that will delve into how you can be able to expand your network beyond the tech space. We have some amazing speakers on the call
Ma'am,
with us. Yep.
I don't think you have started the webinar on the YouTube channel.
Okay, so I should wait.
The webinar started. Please carry on.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I am by name Ibrahim Mursala Muhammad. We are all excited to be here on this episode of the webinar series. Today we'll be expanding on your expanding your network beyond tech. So this is a webinar that will touch on how to build your network beyond the tech space, and how beneficial that is. We have some amazing speakers here with us on the call. Some of them, all of them have had a lot of experience in the tech space and beyond. First off, we have Muhammad Aliyu. His passions lies in leveraging technology to empower Africa's next generation of innovators. He is a currently graduate student in upskilling IT entrepreneurship at CMU Africa, while supporting entrepreneurs with their journey. His expertise in product management and digital transformation fuels his mission to tackle edtech and health tech, that is education tech and healthcare technologies, challenges in creating lasting progress in Africa. We also have Stephen Oyebanji. He's a software developer at Yotapate Consulting Tech. He's a writer and cinematographer, and he's been active in the tech space for over 7 years. We also have Brandon T. Bande. He is a GTG organizer. He has led a lot of tech communities such as AMLD, Microsoft Student Ambassadors, Holt Prize, and Zela Youth Network, amongst others. He has stood out as the friendliest person in the room, and he has a skill that helped him open doors and creates his willingness to forge and meaningful connection and the empath and sorry, diverse connection and empathic approach toward networking and pitching. So I'm sure that they have a lot of insightful we will have a lot of insightful session with them. So let us begin. So Muhammad Ali, I would like to invite you to start the session with your presentation. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for sharing my screen. Let me know where you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
All right, thank you very much. The topic for today is expanding your network beyond tech. And some of us might be wondering why we need to expand our network beyond comfort zone tech or beyond tech if you've been in tech for a long time. Um, this is a brief about me. I'm Muhammad Aliyu. I'm currently a student at Carnegie Mellon University, Africa. The, that's the African campus of Carnegie Mellon University. I am an MBA, just completed my MBA from Vala Institute. And I've been in all the other schools that are listed by the slide. I currently volunteer for the Innovation Scouts and the founding president of Africa Innovator Society, which is basically the entrepreneurship club in CM Africa. So I'll be sharing a few of my insights with us. Some of us might have seen this one way or the other and have heard this, especially if you're Nigerian. Now, waiting, not waiting, now waiting is that basically people telling you that it's your network or your connection that gets you certain things and all of that. Well, that might be right, that might be wrong. And through this presentation, we get to figure out where it's right and where it's wrong. I'll focus mainly on where it's right. Where it's right is basically you want to get to the CEO of Microsoft today, you need maximally 6 people to connect you to him. You need to connect to it. One person connect with another person, and the chain goes on, and you get to the 6th person maximally. For certain person, it's just one. For others, it's 2. So, why exactly do we need to expand our network beyond our base, which is tech? Or why do we need to expand our network to other regions? Well, some of the reasons might be the fact that you want to you want to go into a particular field and use your expertise in tech, or another reason might be that you want to go to school in a particular school. Maybe you want to go to Harvard from Nigeria, or you want to go to MIT or that. Some other reasons might be that you've moved around tech and you've not found a suitable partner. Other reasons might be that you just want to travel the world, and you want to get information about certain things, or you want to get opportunities in certain areas. So these are some of the main reasons why you might want to expand your network, which I would touch on when we move to the next slide. So on the next slide here, we see when, which basically touched on when you need to expand your network. So in life, we have different stages, and for all of those stages, you need to expand your network depending on the stage you are. So if you're an early career person, you're looking for that person who will take a bet on you. So how do you do that? You can't do that by just staying among your peers, going for GDG events or other tech events. You need to go for business events where you find this kind of persons, or events that are specific to the area you want to play in. If you're the academic type and want to ultimately become a lecturer or something, you go to events where you find researchers or lecturers. But if you're established and you're probably looking to sell a product or something to one person or the other, then you need to look for people within that range. Descending as you move on. Other reasons or other stages where you might need to expand your network is, God forbid, you find yourself in certain situation that you need either health, maybe a health related thing, or a legal thing, or other related thing. You need someone in that space who you trust, because ultimately, you build communities of people you trust, and through those communities, we leverage them to get what we want at one point or the other. So how exactly do you now get into those places? How do you leverage all of this to expand your network? Firstly, you need to know exactly where. So I'll give an example. I want to go deeper into the startup ecosystem. Automatically, I need to be amongst founders. I need to be among investors. How do I do that? I look for communities where there are investors, there are founders, possibly volunteer for one thing or the other within the community. And through that, I'm able to get people who know me, such that we've built trust and we can now move on from there. Other thing is you leverage the existing network. So I can basically just take my phone and say, hello, so like I call a friend or something and say, oh, this jam, or I need someone in this space which I know you play in. Can you connect me? So that's another way. Another way is social media. I mean, LinkedIn is one of the powerful tools when it comes to networking with people, especially outside of your network, or people within your network. So you can just go on LinkedIn, search for people based on your criteria, and from what you get from the query, you just select people that are in the line of what you're looking for and send them an email. So I give an example. You want to expand your network in Harvard. so that you get into Harvard as a master student or as a PhD student, for example. Well, while you might have the material, you qualify based on merit and all of that, it still doesn't mean that you don't need people. You need someone, if it's a PhD, for example, you need someone in the lab to tell you about the lab, to tell you about your potential supervisor and all of that. And through reaching out to them on LinkedIn and on that, you are able to create that connection. I mean, you might get no's, but also ultimately you get one person to tell you yes. And through that person, it might even be someone who will be sitting on the judging panel for whatever you're doing. And the person is like, I've interacted with this person for a while and I know what they can do. I trust them. And ultimately you get in. Same thing applies to other places. So again, the way to leverage networks to expand the way to leverage all of this to expand your network is one, mentorship. I said that I wanted to get into the startup space to deepen my understanding of the space and also the specific sector I'm going into. What I can do is get somebody in that space, which I'm already doing, get list of people in the space who are respected, who I respect, craft a message on LinkedIn, send it to them, look for people within their network, look for events they go to. Sometimes it might look like you're stalking someone, but ultimately, if you're doing it for good, then go for it. Like look for the events they go to, target an event where the person will be at, and go for the event and just connect organically. Uh, you can just send an email saying, if you have their email saying that you want to interview them on a particular topic, or you have a particular project that might interest them and just collaborate with them. Now, ultimately, in trying to expand your network, one thing is very important, and that thing is creating value and staying in touch. There are people who know you, only know you if you constantly relate, or if you've related to a particular extent and you build trust. And again, another way is when you create value, people hardly forget you. They would say, oh, so person who did this, or so person who is doing this. So again, when you find these connections, you need to create value and not expect value in return. The value will follow, but when you have too much expectation, it becomes an issue. So create value. Uh, I would say thank you very much. That's all I have, and the Q&A session will allow for more discussion. Thank you. I'll stop sharing now.
Thank you very much, sir. That was an extremely insightful presentation. It was very brief, but I'm sure that everybody got a lot of insightful information from it. I personally liked how you touch on how to leverage on your network and all of the things that you've mentioned under the slide. So without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Brandon T. Bande to give us his own piece. So thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. First, confirm that you can hear me before I proceed.
Sorry, can you come again?
Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly, loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be presenting at this wonderful session. And just a little bit about myself. My name is Brandon Tibande. Currently, I'm a GDG organizer for Harare, which is what I'm been focusing on. But in the past, I've been part of communities in climate advocacy and in social entrepreneurship. I've led and participated in communities like the Outrise community, the Students for Exploration and Development of Space, among others. So, what I'll be sharing with you, some of the things that I've learned along the way, things that have helped me, and hopefully they might be able to impact somebody or to help them, get started on their networking journey. So before I started networking, I think that was 3 or 4 years ago. I was sort of like an introvert. I wasn't really socializing with people. I didn't even have the confidence to be able to be talking as I'm doing right now. And like I was comfortable with it because I sort of like identified as a name. And the more antisocial I became, I feel like I was really doing it right. But then I would find out that whenever I had a problem, whenever I needed some insight, it was hard for me to be able to reach out to people, to ask for their opinion, to ask for their advice. And it's like I was sort of like forced to step out of that zone. And fast forward to this moment, uh, I now have a very diverse network of individuals that I socialize with, that I connect with, that not only share opportunities, but also, advise me when I'm kind of lost and help me to stick to my purpose. Because sometimes, sometimes I'm more kind of discouraged. But, having someone who knows where you've come from, someone who knows what you're trying to achieve collectively and individually, they can always try to chip in and help you. And as a result, I've also managed to be a little bit more confident, hence seeing me presenting at this session. And the other thing that has changed is my personality. I tend from being, the kind of person that nobody wanted to talk to, the kind of boring person, into the person that is sort of like the life of the party. And from that transition, like I said before, I've heard people, sharing their opinions. There were times when, me being tech savvy, I would come up with sort of like a solution that I thought was going to maybe change the world and, make me millions. We all know how we developers are always aiming to, to be innovators and entrepreneurs. But then after coming up with such a solution, you would revert it to the people that are maybe in that field. As you remember, at one time, we had a solution that was aimed at teaching people more about climate activism, about climate change. And I had designed it in such a way that I thought was perfect. But then when I consulted my friends who are in the environmental space, they really couldn't understand where I was going from. Like they couldn't get the A, B's, and C's of the solution. And as such, I was forced to sort of like change my approach to the solution that we were building. And that insights, and that information that they shared with me was something that I couldn't have gotten if I had sort of like diversified my network. And as such, you see, like I mentioned, I had a solution, but it really didn't address the problem that I thought it was addressing. So the more that you sort of like have a diversified network, you have people, from different fields, from different backgrounds. You sort of like now you have a clearer understanding of the problem that they face, and they can even assist you with how you can solve their problem instead of you just making some assumptions. Because most of the startups that I've seen, they felt what they didn't understand clearly the problem that the customers were facing. And as such, having a diverse network can help you, identify the pain points of the customers. And whenever you are working on your work, whenever you're coming up with a solution, you now have higher chances of hitting the mark than when you were just shooting in the dark. And then the other thing that I've gained is a stronger support base. And like I mentioned, sometimes when my morale is a little bit low, you hear friends not only cheering you up, but uplifting you, motivating you, helping you push through. It has happened a lot of times, and because of those friends, I still am pursuing my goals, which was something that if I were still that introverted person that I was before I started networking, maybe I would have given up on a lot by now. And then with the networks, there have been some financial opportunities. Sometimes it is a gig that just comes along my way. And sometimes, it is maybe a chance to meet some VCs, a chance to meet someone who is willing to listen to what you have and possibly invest in your solution. And that is something that I couldn't have if I didn't, diversify my network beyond the tech realm. And then there's also a lot of resources that have come along. For example, I have been given access to the COP28 Ambassador Program scholarship on Coursera, which is something that is more targeted towards the environmental sector. But the fact that I have friends that are in the climate advocacy field that are active there, that know that I am willing to, upskill myself. I am willing to learn something new. As a result, I managed to be one of the few recipients of that opportunity. Then going on to the type of connections that I've seen people making across the communities that I've been part of. The first one, which I don't usually encourage, is transactional connections, whereby you are trying to connect to someone because you want to gain something, you want to benefit from something that they have, or you want to offer a service. And sometimes, yeah, of course, it can result in collaboration, you getting gigs, you passing them gigs. But that kind of connection is sort of like result oriented. And the moment that, one side fails to deliver, uh, there's sort of some sort of friction that comes up, and at the end of the day, those connections end up not lasting as long as the other connection that I'm going to be talking about. So for this one, I mentioned it as the genuine connection, because for me that is what a connection should be like, whereby you sort of like you have an empathetic view of that person's work, of that person's skills, and from that understanding of what that person is capable of doing or what they're up to, you can sort of like connect with somebody on a friendship level. And the moment you connect with people on such a level, you not only gain friends, you gain mentors, you gain accountability partners, you gain even workmates, and there is more room for collabos in such a scenario. And on the long run, those connections tend to last a while, because if we are going to be talking about what will happen in the future, it is possibly the connection that you are making today that will sort of like determine how we end up maybe 10 to 20 years from now. I think you've heard the stories about the PayPal mafia, like who are the major bakers of tech in Silicon Valley. I'm talking about the Elon Musk, the Peter Thiels, and all those other guys who were there, when they founded PayPal. So from that, it's sort of like you get learned that those connections that they made when they worked together, when they were people from different fields. I still remember reading about Peter Thiel being from a law background, and Elon Musk from a tech perspective. But the fact that they came together, they created something, and with time, they sort of like both competed and contributed to the rise of Silicon Valley as we know it. You can also look into that in your spare time. And then I think this is going to be the last thing that I'll be talking about, which are the lessons that I've learned during my time trying to connect with people. And the first to contribute, whether you think that they are important or not, because I've seen people evolving from a point whereby I could look at them like they cannot give me anything that I might not gain anyway. But then with time, find them being even more pivotal in the opportunities that you're going to be getting. So yeah, it is important that we have connection just treat people with what can I say, with fairness, show a fair shot, and you never know where they're going to end up. Then the other thing that I'll notice is that if you plan your connections or network for the short term, or you think that, oh, I want to befriend someone so that I gain this and that, usually you might gain what you think you want, but at the end of the day, after you get what you want, maybe after the business is done, that connection sort of like dies down. And what you would want is a long-term connection whereby you can count on that person, you can have them supporting you and you supporting them on the long run. Then the other thing is be willing to give in order to gain. I've seen most people having a selfish approach towards connecting with people, and that in turn sort of like limits, how close you can get with those potential partners. And if you look at a scenario whereby you sort of like have people, appreciating something that you've done for them. When they come across something, I'm pretty sure that the first person that they're going to think of is you. Because to be honest, there are so many people around, like the population is growing. Everything that you can do, there is always someone that can also do it. But that personal connection that you create can be something that becomes the deciding factor on whether someone is going to give you an opportunity to connect with you, or an opportunity to even better yourself. Then the other thing is, don't be shy, just be yourself. The world is large, there will always be people like you. You don't really have to force connections. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if it works, then good for you. You can always expand on that. You can always build on that. Then I was going to talk about the personal testimonies of how I've managed to connect with people beyond tech. The first one is the Zimbabwe Environmental Lawyers Association, which is a group of lawyers that are involved in climate activism. But due to my connection, due to my network with some of them, I've been given stages that I never thought that I could. I think at one time I was part of a conference that they were hosting, and I literally had nothing that I knew about the space. But the fact that they knew that I was willing to learn, they gave me an opportunity. And to my surprise, we found that we had a lot in common, and there was a lot that we could work on. Then the other one is with Inectors, an entrepreneurship-based club in my school. And with that club, I was just offering my tech service, tech support. And at the end of the day, those are the people that opened the doors for me to be one of the first foremost laboratory finalists in my country. Then within my network, within the people that I've started communicating with, that I started communicating with some time ago, I've seen people like grow their profiles, grow into something that originally I wasn't even imagining. Uh, Currently, there is someone who is our regional secretary of the youth parliament, which is sort of like a very big deal. And their connections, uh, their their resources are something that I can always step into whenever I want. So yeah, I think that is all I have to share for now. And yeah, I'm leaving the floor to you.
All right, thank you very much. That was a very wonderful session. Mr. Brandon T. Pandey spoke a lot of his personal testimonies and how his personal journey went from, as he said, quote unquote, a person nobody wants to talk to a person that's always that is just the life of the party. I really love how he expressed how his journey through his what is it called, networking and connections. He also emphasized on the importance of connections and making uh building networks that are beyond tech and how it can impact your life in the long run. So we really appreciate you being here on the call with us, Mr. Brandon. And I would like to invite Mr. Steven to give us the last presentation for the day. Thank you very much, Mr. Steven. The floor is all yours.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Permit me to not show my face because my network is quite poor. If I do that, you might take me off.
Yeah, it's okay. But I hope you can share your slides.
Uh, I'm trying to do that.
All right. I think he's experiencing a lot of network issues. Yes, he's back. So let's wait a little bit.
Sorry, let me know when you can't see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen, sir.
Okay. So good evening, everybody. I'm Stephen Oyebanji. I'm a software engineer at Database Consulting, a co-organizer for GTG Maiduguri and the Flutter Maiduguri Meetup League. Yeah, so I'll be talking about expanding your network beyond tech, and a couple two speakers that spoke before me have actually spoken extensively on the subject. So let me I just like defining stuff when I want to talk about them. And I think basically everybody would have an understanding of what networking is. It's basically the practice of building relationship with individuals and businesses, be it for professional purpose or personal purpose or whatsoever purpose. It's simply just building relationship. So why network in the first place? It's just simple because you are simply not an island. So you are not the only person on earth. So in order for you to survive, it means you have to interact with other people around you. And that is why you must network. So I think we could actually say networking is a natural instinct in every human, because whether you like it or not, you have to network. You basically might not call it networking, but the relationship you're building with people in your neighborhood, the people at work, the people in at events that you go to, those are basically networking that you're actually doing. So few things to just note when it comes to networking. Networking provides you with opportunity. I think that has been spoken on extensively, because when you meet people, then people get to connect you to gigs, people get to connect you to opportunities, give you scholarships and the likes. Yeah, it gives you network knowledge also. Certain things you don't get to realize you don't know till you actually get to meet certain people. And then that's where your eyes get to see that, okay, so I actually have been missing out of this particular part of knowledge. So you build relationships, and then, yes, support also. When you have people around you, it gives you the moral support to actually do whatever you want. And then you have this kind of confidence that you build along the way because of the relationships around you. So a quick story about how I started tech, because I'm actually based in Maiduguri. So when I started tech, it was around the period where there was no internet within the town for, I think, 3 months or so. So, and I had to use a cafe to actually go and download resources to actually learn. And then, believe me, it was the most frustrating aspect of my tech journey, because it was like I was literally on an island. There was nobody I could ask for help. If I'm stuck, there is nobody I could actually reach out to. So I was just in one place, and that was how it actually led to the break of my tech learning phase at that particular point, because I had to stop and then just let the whole thing just die down for a while. So, but when you have a network around you, obviously there's the support. You see this person doing this, you see this person doing this, you also encourage to continue and move on with your struggle. Because if they are going through the same, if they went through the same thing you are going through and they are still surviving, obviously you also can. So also growth, same thing with the support. So because you get support, you get to grow also. Then access to resources. When you meet people, especially more experienced people than you get to have valuable resources that you might necessarily not get if you are at your current stage. You get. So then mutual benefits. You help me, I help you. Basically, that's how humanity exists, so to say. Let me say, because whether we like it or not, we necessarily might not have the whole idea of I help you to get something, you also help me to get something. But I want to believe that that's how our brains are wired. Today, if I do good to you, tomorrow you would actually be looking out for opportunities in which you could actually use to repay me back. Yes, so those are just some key things. So yes, I got this quote. Networking is not about just connecting people. It's about connecting people with people with ideas, and people with opportunities. So if you have these at the center of a network, or when you're actually going out to network, then you would understand why you have to network. So why network beyond tech community matters? So there is this popular notion that tech bros or tech sis are usually secluded. We close ourselves in the room and then we just press our systems, and then that's what most of us do actually, truth be told. So, but then there is a need to actually go out and actually have a feel of the community around us. So diversity in connection is the first point. When you actually get to meet people, not just in tech sector, you get to see things from a different perspective. You get to have an understanding of why other sectors are actually functioning the way they actually function. Because trust me, as a tech guy, I want to believe that any problem I'm actually faced with, the first instinct will be, oh, how can I solve this with tech? But necessarily, tech might not be the best solution for that particular problem. So then cross-pollination of ideas, when you actually interact with people outside of just the tech community, you get to understand different things and build different ideas with a depth of knowledge. Because if I was to build a hospital management system, I literally read computer engineering in school. So I actually do not have a basic fee. I'm not even sure I'm actually the best biology student, so that I wouldn't say I have a feel of what medicine or health is actually like. So if I'm to build a system for the hospital, I would actually have to network with somebody that has a deep understanding of how the hospital functions, knows the loopholes and knows the errors that they are trying to actually fix in the current system they're operating. And then I would now be able to build better. This is something I will not be able to do if I'm just around techies only. So yes, and same thing with interdisciplinary collaboration, medicine collaborating with tech, agriculture with tech, and different sectors with tech. So soft skill development. So largely, I think there are just basically two types of skills people acquire. Basically, the soft skills and then the hard skills. The soft skills are just usually skills that you could transfer from one occupation to another. They are not occupation-based. And basically, things like building relationships and the likes are just the soft skills. So when you actually connect with people from other disciplines, there are certain things you would have to learn naturally. They will just come to your instinct that you have to learn it, because you're interacting with people from different fields. They are not just having the same part of mindset that you are having. So that would actually help you to actually build certain soft skills that you would need to actually really succeed. Then opportunities beyond boundaries. So because you are just in tech, your mind might just be centered around tech. Truth be told, you would be thinking of how to build solutions for other sectors. But if you're not in those sectors and you don't have a perspective of what those sectors are actually facing, then you would actually not be able to build a solution that really matters to them. And that's why you see some people would build up solutions, and then at the end of the day, the solution that was built is developed a new problem to the entire system. So yes, so that's it. So every giant company or founder was once someone who started from a specific niche and grew their skill set by networking with others. So I think I was watching a documentary on I think it was one of these popular brand, I think it's Louis Vuitton or so. And then the guy literally started his own brand from just drawing dresses. He just draw dresses, and then he got to learn the skill of sewing those dresses along the way. And then that was how he started his business. But going forward now, if you look at the entire brand, you discover that they don't just sell dresses. They sell a lot of other items. They sell a lot of other luxurious items. But the founder's major skill was just knowing how to draw fashionable dresses and then sewing them. So you meet giants of companies and then founders, top CEOs. You discover that they actually had a simple idea, but then if you actually break down their current businesses, you discover that it's not just the simple idea they started with that is actually making their business successful. And if they had not networked with other people, so to say, or let me put it, employ other people with different skill sets, it would most likely not happen that they would not attain the level of success they attained at the speed they actually attained it. So when you network outside the tech cycle, it helps you gain speed also in your growth process. So innovation and problem solving is at the forefront of tech and innovation, but you can't build a solution to a problem you don't have the required knowledge of the solution and the problem. So if I want to actually build an agricultural problem and I've never been to the farm, it's going to be hard. I know we could say you would use Google to actually learn stuff, but the truth is sometimes if you actually go to the farm itself and then talk to the farmers on that farm, you get to have a better understanding, you get to have a better knowledge of what the challenge is and then how best to actually solve the challenge using the knowledge from the farmer and not just a knowledge you just read off the internet or you just brainstormed on your own. So networking beyond tech is very important to us as techies because we build solutions and then we build solutions for other sectors. We don't just build tech solutions. So you have to understand the problem, then understand the solution from the people who are in the field. So I'm a huge fan of watching superhero movies. So if you've watched Black Lightning, there was a quote that Gambi from Black Lightning actually quoted to one of the meta-humans. And then, okay, the meta-human here is called TC. And then his superpower was actually knowing how to interact with computers. He could interact with computers from his mind. So he was told that you need to interact with humans to gain humanity so that you solve problems with the human touch. So you need to interact with other sectors to gain the deep knowledge of the sector so that you would be able to solve their problems that actually affects them in a positive way. So that's that for that. So, DNet, opportunity